If you've ever stared at your resume wondering, how am I going to explain this gap in my employment? You are not alone. With all the recent layoffs combined with normal life like relocation, a break to raise family, or maybe help a family member in need, there are a lot of reasons why you can have space between your jobs these days. If you've taken time off to work, whether by your own choice or not, you might be wondering, how do I handle this on my resume and talk about it if it comes up in an interview? It's a great question. First, my name is Doug, and I'm with Career IQ. I'm a recruiter, a business leader, a career coach, directly helping well over 1,000 clients, and I've been quoted for career advice in multiple major publications. Be sure to check out the link in the description where you can find out how to get help for your job search and your career, and a free resource from me. Let's dig in. Let me start by addressing something head on. Don't lie. Don't try to fill the gap with a fake job or fudge dates on other jobs to try to fill that gap. Now, I'm not one that suggests that you need to divulge every little detail about who you are and your past to an employer. I don't believe that. In the same way that employers are oftentimes holding some of their cards close to them, you're negotiating a business arrangement, and you don't need to just automatically give more information than you need to. However, straight up lying on your resume can come back to bite you. Hiring managers can sniff that out, especially in an interview. And if it comes out later during a background check, it's a quick way to lose trust and really begin to create an issue for you. So my encouragement to you is to look for more productive ways that you can address that gap and actually present you well, and in some cases, even bolster you as a candidate. For starters, what constitutes a career gap? Well, years ago, I would have told someone that a few months could be considered a gap and that it could be a good idea to help a hiring manager understand what happened during that time. Well, the last few years have changed some things. Some of the conventional wisdom is not always applicable when it comes to many who have been affected and have had their work history impacted by what is really a crazy job market, often by no fault of their own. If that sounds like you and you're dealing with a gap in your career, hey, maybe drop a comment below and tell me about your experience. I'd love to hear from you. If you have a gap of, say, 6 months, I would recommend that this is where you're going to want to start to think about addressing that gap, really for a couple of reasons. One, as a hiring manager is reading your resume, it helps them to have a sense of what happened during that time frame. Many times, unanswered questions in the mind of a hiring manager can be a good enough reason, at least in their mind, to move on to the next applicant. If there's a break, it can be good to show activity. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in just a minute and help them understand what was happening in your situation at that time. Also, ATS systems can be set to look for career gaps and can weigh your candidacy based on gaps. If you fill those gaps with dates within your resume with informative information, it may help you to not be screened out based on a large gap before someone even takes a look at your resume. So what should you put in there? Obviously, you don't want to say something like searching for a job. You want to show activity. And as you list this activity on your resume, be sure to be clear, concise, and not overshare. Get right to the point describing activity in that time frame. Avoid negativity and wrap it up with something positive, like I'm excited and energized to bring project management and leadership skills to a new role. So let's talk about a few examples. If you haven't already, use this time to look for some freelance roles in your field, or maybe even start a side hustle of your own. Not only is this going to help you generate some income during this time of unemployment, but it will give you something to talk about regarding this time frame on both your resume and in an interview. Maybe you've been working on some projects and you've loaded them up into GitHub. Talk about that. Or perhaps you've done some side work for a friend who owns a business. Give your efforts a business name, list a title applicable to what you're applying for, and then include that. Another example may be some sort of education or coursework or certification that you've pursued during that time. Even if it's not entirely formal in nature, list how you've developed yourself or advanced your skills or kept current in your industry. Or maybe even consider listing some volunteer work and the skills that you're using related to your field. Or even if you've spent time caring for a family member, help them be aware of that. All of these shed light on that time for a hiring manager. The key is be brief. Avoid the temptation to elaborate on it and just give TMI or too much information. Make it simple and forward looking. Another important aspect can be to reframe the gap as a time of growth. Sometimes the first one we need to reframe it to is ourselves. Sometimes we need to pull ourselves out of negativity of not being employed and shift how we're thinking about our situation. Once we reframe it to ourselves, it can become easier to reframe how we approach it, explaining it to others. If your employment gap taught you resilience, time management, or gave you a fresh perspective, say that. Use your cover letter and interview to highlight how that time helped you to come back stronger and clearer and maybe even more skilled. Hiring managers aren't always looking for the perfect resume. They're looking for people who adapt, grow, and solve problems. And how you handle gaps in your career can be a great way to show them that you are someone who can do just that with confidence. If you'd like more information like this to help you in your job search, be sure to like and subscribe and check out my links in the description below. There you're going to find out how you can get regular insights for your job search and check out my free resource to you. You've got this. Your next opportunity may be closer than you think.